Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis with episode 4 of Grey Knight's Codex Analysis. Today we're going to take a look at the Elite section. If you've missed any episodes from this series, make sure to go to the link down below in the description. You can watch the entire playlist and check out some other Grey Knight content that we have made. If you watch episode 1, you'll be able to see the relics, warlord traits, and all the army special rules that we're going over in this video. And episode 2 covers the majority of the war gear list, although everything that comes up I will go over it again in this video. The Elite section is 3 units long. It's only 3 units, which, considering what this Codex's detachment does, giving you a 4th elite slot, I'd have thought there'd be more, especially because you're sacrificing other slots to get more elite slots. You don't need it if you just want to take one of everything. If anything, it's detrimental. Having said that, though, they are pretty powerful units in here, so you may want to take duplicates. Let's begin. The Purifier Squad, 125 points, gets you 4 Purifiers and 1 Knight of the Flame. He is your Sergeant. The Purifiers are basically 2 attack Strike Marines, Weapon Skill, Ballistic Skill 4, Strength Toughness 4, 1 Wound, Initiative 4, 2 attacks, Leadership 9, and a 3+ save, which is pretty damn good. The Knight of the Flame has exactly the same stats, but he is a character. They all wear Power Armor, have a Stormbolt, a Nemesis Force Sword, which is basically a power weapon with Force and Demon Bane, allowing to reroll wounds and armor penetration rolls against demons while Force is on. Remember that. Frag grenades, crack grenades, and psych out grenades, which are not that useful unless you're fighting a lot of psychers. Even against demons, they have no additional benefits. They have the Aegis, giving them rerolls of 1 to deny the witch. They are level 2 psychers rather than level 1 as a Brotherhood. They can combat squad, they're fearless, they're preferred enemy demons, and purity of spirit, meaning that when they cast Santic powers, they only miscast on a double 6 rather than every double. Also, they have the Purifying Flame special rule, giving all their melee attacks Soul Blaze, which, remember Soul Blaze, I have a really bad habit of forgetting about it. They know Banishment, they know Hammer Hand, and they know Cleansing Flame from Santic Demonology. Cleansing Flame is your extra power here, it's a Nova. Hammer Hand gives you +2 strength. Banishment knocks down demon inbounds. You may take up to 5 additional dudes per model, for 25 points per model, meaning a full-size squad will set you back 250 points. For every 5 models, 2 may take a special weapon. You can have the Incinerator, which is a Strength 6 Heavy Flamer with, I believe it has Soul Blaze as well, for 5 points. You can have a Silencer, which is a 6-shot, Strength 4 AP nothing Force, which is pretty good, I've got to say, for 10 points. And you may have a Side Cannon, which is Strength 7 AP 4, Salvo 2-4, and Rending for 15 points. You do lose your Nemesis Force Sword if you go down that route, though, so if you want your Purifiers up close and personal, you may not want to make all those switches. What it does mean is if you go to a full-size squad of 10, you can easily set it up so as you have 4 guys with special weapons camping at the back, and then the other 5 who go, and then one other random dude, maybe a Knight of the Flame, and then send everybody else bombing forward in a Razorback, which you take as a dedicated transport, to wreck face with their Nova powers and Soul Blazy nonsense. Any Purifier may take items from melee weapons if he hasn't taken a special weapon. So you can have a Nemesis Force Halberd, which gives you +1 strength, but is also 2-handed. That'll set you back 2 points. You can take a pair of Nemesis Falchions, which give you an extra attack for 4 points. Remember, all these weapons have Force and Demon Bane as standard. Nemesis Warding Stave for 5 points, giving you a unit Adamantium Will, or a Nemesis Demon Hammer. Oh, the Nemesis Warding Stave also is a Power Maul, so +2 strength, AP4, and concussive. And the Demon Hammer is a Thunder Hammer, basically. Times 2 strength, AP2, concussive. I think it's also 2-handed, and that set you back 10 points. You probably don't need the Warding Stave in this squad because you're already level 2, so against low-level Psychers, you have a higher mastery level when it comes to dispelling, but it can't hurt. Personally, though, I think Halberds are probably the way to go if you're going to tool them out, because you have the extra attack compared to Strike Squad with Falcons already, which is kind of handy. The Knight of the Flame may also take from melee weapons, and he can also take special issue war gear, which is Melter Bombs, Teleport Homer, Digital Weapons, make a weapon mastercrafted. If you're running a hammer, you definitely want to make it mastercrafted, and maybe you even want digital weapons as well, just because you can get that rerolling them to wound on 2s. And then you may take a Rhino or Razorback as a dedicated transport. I think Razorbacks will be more useful if you go with the combat squad option, Rhinos if you go with the big block. Why I think Purifiers are awesome is because you pay, compared to a Strike Squad, 15 points. And for that 15 points, you get an additional attack, an extra point of leadership, an extra mastery level, fearless, Soul Blaze on your melee weapons, an extra power because you've got a higher mastery level, more special weapons, Do I need to explain why Purifiers are objectively amazing compared to Strike Squads? They're freaking awesome. The one downside I think they probably do have is that they are even more combat orientated than other squads. Because while yes, you can take more special weapons, with power like Cleansing Flame and their attacks having Soul Blaze, you want them up in the face doing melee damage or using that Nova AoE. So maybe you either want to go with the combat squad idea, half forward, half back, or you just tech them out and go crazy and go face. Up to you. Purifiers are awesome. Let's move on. We have Paladins. These guys got changed in a way in that units went from being 1 strong base to 3. So you pay 165 points, which gets you 3 Paladins. These guys are objectively better Terminators. Weapon skill 5, BS 4, strength numbers 4 with 2 wounds, initiative 4, 2 attack, legit 9, 2 plus save. The main thing here is the extra wound. It's sick. It's fantastic. They have Terminator armor, Stormbolt, and Nemesis Force Sword, Frag Crack, and Psych Out Grenades, which is pretty stock. There are no Power Fists in this codex for anybody who was wondering, so yeah, you're stuck with the Power Sword or you go with the Demon Hammer. You have the Aegis, They Shall Know No Fear, which is a standard marine rule. Brotherhood of Psychers, level 1, they can go combat squatting if you go up to full size. Preferred enemy demons, excuse me, and Purity of Spirit. They know Banishment and they know Hammer Hand, which gives them +2 strength if you get it off. They also, of course, know Force for their Force weapons. Everybody knows Force. You can take up to 7 more Paladins, 55 points to guide, meaning a full-size squad is 550 points, which in anything that's not a 2k point game is about up to a third of your army, which is a lot. But in big, massive games, it's worth it. You can upgrade 1 Paladin to an Apothecary, taking out your Stormbolter and giving you an Arthesium, which gives your squad Feel No Pain. When you add characters in there, that is absolutely freaking amazing. 20 points, do it. You may take 1 Paladin may replace his melee weapon with either a Brotherhood banner, which is kind of like a chapter company standard type of thing. It gives friendly units within 12 rerolls to fail morale and pinning checks, and all models in Grey Knight in the same unit have +1 attack while the bearer is alive. Pretty good for 25 points, but if you pay, what? Let me just remind myself because I have a bad memory. So, yeah, Brotherhood banner, 25 points. You can pay 10 points more, 1 per army, for a Nemesis banner. This is a relic, so of course it's only 1 per army. And what it does is much funky stuff. Gives everybody within 12 fearless. Fearless on everybody. Considering demons cause fear in their kind of typical army, that's really, really useful. In addition, all Grey Knights in the same unit +1 attack as before, and furthermore, all models with the demon special rule that a friend or foe, in case you have some demon allies for no bloody reason, I'm looking at Eldar primarily, treat all terrain, even open ground within 12 as dangerous. So don't take anything that's got the word demon in its name if you are running Paladins with the Nemesis banner. You get a half casting of the Power Sanctuary built into this for free, and for 10 points compared to a Brotherhood banner, to give everybody fearless within 12, value, 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 value. Do it. If you're going to go for it, go ham, go Nemesis banner, because it's just way better than a company standard. Or, sorry, Brotherhood banner, should I say. So yeah, do that. For every 5, so you don't do this with the basic squad, you have to get to 5 first. 2 Paladins may take Terminator special weapons. So once you get to 5 and you've paid 275 points, which is insane, you can get 2 special weapons. These weapons are the same as for Strike and Purifier squads, only they're more expensive because you don't lose your Force weapon. You only lose the Stormbolt. The Incinerator costs 10, Silence 15, Psycannon 20. Because Paladins have this tanky feel with Feel No Pain and the option to get extra attacks and give auras of rerolling round checks or fearless, you probably don't want the Incinerator because you don't want to be deep striking. The side cannon is probably the best way to go, and if you're going to go in, go full Death Star, Paladins with double side cannon or 4 side cannons if you really go for it. Nemesis banner, Apothecary, character, a Paladin Death Star could really be nasty, but it is quite slow, kind of like Terminators, which we talked about in the previous episode. Any model may take melee war gear or specialist U war gear, so you can take any war gear you like. Bearing in mind, if you have taken a side cannon, you will probably not be able to use the side cannon, although I don't want to be quoted on that. No, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Stop talking. Yeah. So yeah, you can go whatever you want. You may want to go with Falcons for the extra attack on top of the extra attack, but you don't need it if you're running a banner. And the banner's value goes up and up and up the more guys you have. So if you have a 5-man unit, the cost of giving everybody Falcons is 20 points. The banner is 25. The value is better on Falcons. In a 10-man squad, everybody gets +1 attack. So you gain 10 attacks for 25 points. Or you can do the same thing with Falcons and have to spend 40 points. Or you could do both, spend 65 points and give everybody 4 attacks each, which is insane. But I still think because you've got Hammer Hand, you probably don't need halberds that much. So a warding stave is absolutely essential, because if you're going to Death Star up, then you definitely want the student staying alive. And they're only level 1, so you don't get the extra nice witch roll. And the Aegis will only help you so much. And a Demon Hammer, well, Death Star smash everything in the face. You should have at least 1 hammer knocking around. You have no character in this unit. That's the only thing, other than the Apothecary. So if you have things with challenges, you can't just throw a Paladin in the way. You'll just have to throw your Apothecary out, which is risky, but the Apothecary still has a force weapon. He can fight, which is pretty good. Although, any model may do it, yeah, sorry. And the unit may take a Land Raider, Land Raider Crusader, or Land Raider Beam as dedicated transport. We're covering those in 2 episodes' time in a couple of weeks. And they're the same as Space Marine Land Raiders. I think they may have Psychic Pilot, but I'm not sure. I'm a little bit curious now. I'm going to go and check. No, they're exactly the same. They're exactly the same as other Marine Land Raiders, and they cost pretty much the same as well. They may have a slight increased points cost, but I don't think it's that much different. Finally, for this section, we have the Dreadnought, which is an absolute classic. 125 points gets you a weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength 6, armor 12, 12, 10, front 12, side 12, rear 10. Initiative 4, 2 attacks, 3 hull points for a walker with a multi-melter, a power fist and storm bolter, searchlight and smoke launchers. I always forget that searchlights exist. I've got a bad habit of doing that. And smoke launchers. Bad habit. You have the Aegis. You are Psychic Pilot, Mastery level 1. Preferred enemy demons, Purity of Spirit. So again, you know Santic powers. And you know Banishment and Sanctuary. Sanctuary gives you a 6+ invuln and gives you the aura of dangerous terrain to demons that we talked about with the Nemesis banner. So it's pretty handy. I'd rather have a different power like Cleansing Flame, Vortex of Doom, Gate to Infinity would be hilarious. But Sanctuary is probably what you want, because Dreadnoughts are your fire base, because Grey Knights are bad at shooting, oddly enough. You may place the Storm Bolter on your power fist with the Heavy Flamer. Don't. For 10 points. You have no drop pods in Grey Knights, so the option of doing that just isn't there. You don't have Deep Strike, you can't come in quick, it just won't work to an Heavy Flamer. You may place your Power Fist and Storm Bolter that goes with it with a Missile Launcher for 10 points, for a Twin-Linked Autocannon for 15. The old trick in old Grey Knights was 2 sets of Twin-Linked Autocannons with Cybolt ammunition. Cybolt ammunition no longer exists because it was just broken as hell. It basically turned Missile Launchers into Last Cannons, Autocannons into Missile Launchers. It was just stupid. So that's gone, but still, the Twin-Linked Autocannon is probably the best way to go. It's twin-linked, it's handy. Extra armor, 10 points, downgrade stun to shaken. Nah, you don't really need to move with this thing, so don't worry. You may make it a Venerable Dreadnought for 25 points. That gets you a point of weapon skill and a point of ballistic skill, taking you up to weapon skill, ballistic skill 5. And if a Venerable Dreadnought takes a penetrating hit, you can make your opponent re-roll the vehicle damage result. If that second roll is worse than the first, tough, you're stuck with it. So if your opponent rolls up, I don't know, 4 for stunned, you say, I'd rather you re-roll that, and they roll up a 6 for immobilized. Sorry, can't do anything about it. Can't just take the better one. You made them re-roll it, and you have to deal with the consequences. And finally, you may take items from the Dreadnought weapons list. This is basically all the weapons available to Dreadnoughts. These take out your multi-melter, which is probably the worst option, pretty much, due to the fact that it's short range. You don't need that much anti-tank because you can just stick Hammer Hand on and wreck any vehicle in the face. You can switch it out for a Twin-Linked Autocannon for 5 points, which is ridiculously cheap and ridiculously good. Twin-Linked Heavy Bolter, 5 points. Against everything but Orcs, Tyranids, and Guard, this sucks. Twin-Linked Heavy Flamer, this just flat sucks. Plasma Cannon, not bad. Bit of extra range, turns it into a blast. Gets hot is a bit of an issue and lower strength, but it is AP2. Has a bit of value. I wouldn't use it though. Assault Cannon, 20 points. See everything I said about the Heavy Bolter, only it's a little bit better against vehicles because it can rend and it's strength 6, so it wounds things on 2s. It has rending as well, so it can do some damage to things like monsters. Twin-Linked Last Cannon, 25 points. This is your bread and butter for basically anything that isn't an Orc, a Nid, or a Guardsman. Long range, great at popping vehicles, which is the big thing that you may need, is popping out monsters, popping out vehicles, and general fire support. You probably don't need it that much because you have Hammer Hand, you have Demon Hammers, you have Force. But the autocannon, I think, is the best way to go, and you can do it for 5 points, which is dirt bloody cheap. And that's Dreadnoughts. Now, the reason I said Dreadnoughts are your fire support, Grey Knight shooting is terrible by Marine standards. Their Devastator squads are alright, but they're ridiculously expensive. and they don't have the same heavy weapon options that you get in other Marine armies. They've got no Centurions, they've got no... well, they just have general less firepower. So Dreadnoughts find an easy way to slot into that 4th elite slot and give you more guns, because you need them. You don't have the issue of monstrous creatures that Marine armies have, because you have force on everybody. You don't have the issue with vehicles, because you have hammerhand everywhere. But you just need to thin out the hordes. Autocannons do that great. Missile launchers can as well with the frag missiles. Dreadnoughts, really good for that. And that is the elite section. Managed to bang on 15 minutes, about 3 units. That must be a new record. So, as in review, Purifiers are just objectively better strike squads. They're really, really good, and I would swear by a squad of them if I was planning to run strike squads. In an all-Terminator army, maybe not so much. But they're really useful. You can use them defensively or offensively, depending on what you want to do with them. Paladins, 2-1 Terminators with Feel No Pain is incredible. End of. So Paladins are just awesome. The one risk they have is that if you put too many points into them, they can be a bit vulnerable to anything that ignores Feel No Pain. So you may want to buff their invuln with a character that knows Sanctuary, for example. Something that you can think about sticking a Librarian or somebody in there. And then Dreadnoughts, we've just talked about them. Great fire support, really, really useful. And that is the end of today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and any comments down below. We'll be back with episode 5, which talks about the fast attack section, next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis. I'll see you all again.